It's Nolan. What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Hey, man, we got to get into this whole Lauryn Hill situation, man. Now, over the past decade, it's pretty much been known to everybody that Lauryn Hill either is not going to show up to her shows or she's going to show up extremely late. She's come to Atlanta numerous times, the city where I reside, and she showed up 2-3 hours late for festivals, came on stage hella late, came on stage late as fuck in the rain, all type of stuff, man. People went home soaking wet. The time she was originally allotted to come on stage, it was still sunlight out. It's just been crazy stuff that's been going on with her. And I'm sure in other cities, other states, other countries, they've been experiencing the same thing. Again, this has become synonymous with the Lauryn Hill name. We no longer fully associate her with her immense talent. We no longer associate her with her voice, her vocals, her lyrics, rapping ability. I mean, she was a triple threat. She could act, rap, sing. She had the entire package to be probably one of the top artists of all time. She's already regarded as that off of one album and Unplugged. But just imagine if she would have stuck to her guns and really just gave us that full-length career that everyone wanted. Now, why are we talking about Lauryn Hill in this fashion, right? So last night, she went up on stage and she made a remark basically telling the crowd that they're lucky that she even showed up on the stage. Now, I'm sure there's some Lauryn Hill apologists out there that feel like this is fine, this is okay. Hey, she's gone through a hard life, and we're going to get to some of those things as well. But in this moment, we're going to cover this as it is. It is what it is. And I'm going to tell you what it is. Lauryn Hill is abusing her power. She understands that she has a fan base. She went away from the industry for damn near 10 years before even making a re-entrance. And throughout her entire hiatus, people wanted her back. During this time, she would not clear people's samples, right? People wanted to sample her music and give extra life to her, in turn, giving her extra money. She declined. One of the big songs was Kanye West, All Falls Down. That was originally a Lauryn Hill sample. She declined. So he had Selena Johnson come in and interpolate it. She just seems like an odd person. Now, I don't know all of the things that have gone on in her life that created who she is. They say that artists are some of the most misunderstood, some of the most troubled people that walk the earth. And I don't think that that rings true for every artist, but some of us are tormented souls, tortured souls. A lot of us are empaths. We take on not only our problems, but others, simply because we have a certain level of connection that allows us to tap into that creativity, that frequency that creates beautiful music. Now, in this little rant that she did on stage, she said more than just, y'all lucky that I come out on this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and play the actual video for y'all so you can hear her out. You know, come up with your own assessment of what she means, and then we're going to come right back.
Say, hey, yeah, she's late. She's late to late. Yo, y'all lucky I make it on this blood raw stage every night. But I don't do it because they let me do it. I do it because I stand here in the name of God, and I do it. Who surrounded me with family and community when there was no support, when the album sold so many records and no one showed up and said, hey, would you like to make another one? So I went around the world and I played the same album over and over and over. Because we're the survivors. And we're not just the survivors, we're the thrivers.
All right, so in there she said that the album sold millions of records and nobody ever came to ask her if she'd like to make another one. I don't know all the specifics of her life story, but in this moment, I gotta call Cap. We're gonna need an interview with Lauryn Hill to expound on this situation. We're gonna need you to actually do a documentary of how this played out, because the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that album went diamond, didn't it? Yeah, so I just looked it up. It recently hit diamond status back in 2021, but I'm sure it was very close to that for quite some time. Not only that, but the first week it sold over 400,000 copies, which broke the record for a female artist at that time in 1998. So she was the hottest thing smoking. She had the #1 album. She had Doo-Wop. She had all these singles, right? She had that Everything Is Everything classic album. People live by this album. And this wasn't something that just gradually grew over time. That motherfucker hit immediately. And as we all know, in the music industry, they like to strike iron while it's hot. So I refuse to believe that nobody called her phone. Nobody got in touch with her management. Nobody was hitting up Wyclef or anybody that was associated with her to say, hey, where's Lauryn Hill? Let's run this motherfucker back. By 1999, 2000, somebody was goddamn looking for her. By that time, she was all the way out and goddamn with the Marleys and shit, man. She was going on hiatus, going on retreats, having babies and shit. And nobody's saying that there's anything wrong with going off and living your life, making that decision at the height of your career, at the peak of your career. That is your personal choice. I just have a real problem with people that rewrite history. And this is why I say artists be having these tormented souls. Because some people that go through really traumatic experiences or go through things that trigger them, they can go into a space where when they come back out, they're not the same person, right? And their perception of reality gets skewed, right? So then they become this person that says, nobody reached out to me. Nobody wanted to check on my well-being. Nobody wanted to work with me. Nobody wanted to do this and that and this and that. Dog, I don't give a fuck what happened. They was going to come back and double up if you would have been playing ball, okay? Now, back to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, because one of the reasons why it's so controversial that she never made another album is because she took all the credit for everything on that album. The production, the writing, everything. Everything is done under the name of Miss Lauryn Hill. And the other people that contributed to that project, they're on as like bassist, pianists, you know, these menial production assistant type positions when they were actually the ones crafting everything. Some of the stuff outside of the raps, she received a lot of help. She may have had vision. She may have had ideas. Nobody would ever refute that. But it's been long standing that she was taking credit for other people's work. Let's go back to 1998, the year that this album was released. Let's just do some history real quick for everybody. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard these stories, but for those that haven't, I want to make it clear. I'm not dogpiling on Lauryn Hill. I think she's extremely talented. She has everything, all the resources, everything she could ever need to put out another album. She's been back touring for the last 10 years, ever since she came out of her tax issues. When she performed her way out of those tax issues, there was supposed to have been an album coming back then. Where's it at? She dropped some music on SoundCloud. The people wasn't feeling her trying to rap off fast. These are all personal, self-inflicted things. But let's get back to the matter at hand. So here we have The Legal Tangle of Miseducation. This publication was released in December 19th of 1998. All right. It says, the critics who have made Lauryn Hill's solo debut the most acclaimed release of 1998 have consistently praised the album for its vision and honesty in presenting one woman's view on life and love. But now, on the eve of the Grammy season, in which it is a sure contender, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is being portrayed in a lawsuit filed by a group of musicians as something far different, a group project, and a lesson in the unfairness of the music industry. The musicians, known collectively as New Arc, are suing Hill and her label in U.S. District Court in Newark, New Jersey, claiming they deserve a share of songwriting or production credit on 13 of the album's 14 songs. And of course, a sizable chunk of the profits generated by the album, which has sold 2.4 million copies to date. Okay? So by the end of that year, it was already double platinum on its way to triple. 23-year-old Hill, who gained fame as a member of the Grammy-winning Fugees trio, said in a statement that the suit is without any merit whatsoever. A spokesman for the singer added this week that Hill feels deeply betrayed by the New Arc group, who toiled on the Rough House Columbia Records release for months at a studio in Hill's South Orange, New Jersey home. The album credits say the album is produced, written, and arranged by Hill, and she is also listed as executive producer on all the tracks. The New Arc members, Vada Nobles, Rashim Kilo Pugh, and the twin brothers Jahari and Tejumo Newton are acknowledged several times for additional production, additional music contribution, and additional lyrical contribution on some songs, which undermines their actual credit, undermines their actual contributions. For those that don't actually work in the music industry, you might say, hey, your name is at least in there. No, that's not how this works, because they didn't actually get their publishing credits. They didn't actually get their royalties off of this. They were basically listed as session musicians. And session musicians typically get paid a set fee, $500, $1,000, $2,500, right? They didn't get those fees because they actually produced everything, which meant that they were entitled to royalties. But let's keep it going. They claim, however, to be the primary songwriters on 2 tracks, Nothing Really Matters and Everything Is Everything. Those are 2 iconic songs from the project now. 2 fan favorites, 2 songs that have kept her alive and on the stage for damn near 25 years. And major contributions on 6 others. Full or partial production credit is also due to the team on 5 tracks, the suit claims. The musicians also claim to have made sizable uncredited production contributions to A Rose Is Still a Rose, a song produced for Aretha Franklin's last album. She even took credit for producing a song on Aretha Franklin album that they produced. That's kind of crazy, man. The dispute had been discussed by attorneys on both sides for months, but an impasse led to the federal lawsuit filing earlier this month. Lawsuits are hardly a rarity in the realm of song credits, as one music publishing veteran remarked this week. When there's a hit, there's a writ. But the suit against Hill is especially intriguing because she was viewed primarily as a vocalist before Miseducation won raves for her songwriting and production craft. She was known for singing hooks that were already made, right? The Fugees' biggest hits were re-singing old songs, and then they put new raps over it. Wyclef was producing all of that music, right? So where did she all of a sudden learn how to produce at such a high level? All this instrumentation, right? All of these drum breaks, all of this stuff. Where did all of that talent come from? Again, I'm not here to smash on Lauryn Hill. I think she's talented as fuck with her pen. I think she's talented as hell with her vocals. We've seen that since she was a child. But you gotta call a thing, man. In this industry, people will abuse their power. And this is something that's been going on with her for a long time. We even had an issue where her and Robert Glasper just went at it in 2018, and he called her out because he worked in her band for a while and they couldn't look her in the face. They couldn't call her Lauryn Hill. They had to call her Miss Lauryn Hill to identify her, just to say, hey, I'm trying to take a break. I got to take a piss. I'm about to go get something to eat. You had to call her Miss Lauryn Hill or else she would not respond, right? That diva shit that people be acting like, but because she keep a head wrap on and shit like that, you would think she'd never be a diva. I don't know, man. We just got to call a thing. Much respect to you, though. Sources close to Hill dismissed the lawsuit as an attempt to cash in by some overreaching studio musicians. See what I'm saying? Studio musicians? Come on, dog. But Peter C. Harvey, the attorney for the New Art Group, says it is Hill who is exaggerating her artistic heft. He says the hip-hop diva put her name on New Ark's work to establish herself as more than just the singer in the Fugees. She is not a musician. She is not a producer. New Ark will make another album and everyone will see that they were the ones responsible for this album. I dare say if you put Lauryn Hill in a studio alone, she couldn't do it again. Album number 2 for her is not going to sound like this. That view is contradicted by numerous sources who say Hill is blossoming into a major creative force in pop music. Lauryn is a gifted arranger, producer, and writer, as well as a vocalist. She's the whole package, said Gordon the Commissioner Williams, the engineer at the soundboard during most of the Miseducation sessions. Williams declined to discuss the lawsuit or New Ark's claims, but he described the album as a powerfully personal effort by Hill. He said it's definitely her vision. Nobody ever refuted that it was her vision. It's her album. But who actually executed the ideas? Who did the arranging? Who did the producing? Who played the instruments? On these singing records where she may not have written the actual lyrics, who wrote those? Was there a ghost in there? In their suit, the New Ark members said it was Pugh's 4-year friendship with Hill that led the singer to invite the musicians to join her as she began planning her pivotal first solo effort in June of 1997. The suit claims the singer and her would-be collaborators hit it off in their first meeting, making grand plans and sitting in a circle as Hill led them in prayer. Pugh and the others were giddy afterward. The suit also claims Hill made verbal assurances to New Ark that they would be credited and paid for major contributions to the album, but they never pinned down their role in writing, which Harvey concedes was an error. Okay, so this happens a lot to people. If it's not properly documented, you get the short end of the stick. I mean, hey, we can't retroactively change that, but it just kind of goes to show you sometimes how people move. Instead of doing the right thing, which is having integrity, even when nobody else is looking, you'll rather take it off the top for somebody else. The suit says the relationship between Hill and the Newark musicians cooled as the album neared completion and the singer began backing off her earlier promises of credit. Harvey says Hill's handlers tried to placate Pugh and the others in November of 1997 by arranging a publishing deal with Sony ATV, the same publisher that handled the Miseducation songs for Hill. The deal paid the Newark musicians a $100,000 advance for rights to their future work. Harvey said that the size of the deal supports the group's claims that they are far more than just studio musicians, and indeed, industry insiders said a contract of that size is unusual for unproven songwriters. A spokesman for Sony ATV declined to comment on the Newark deal or the amount of money involved. So after all of this happened, in the midst of the album being completed, Sony ATV was like, damn, y'all doing all this for Lauryn Hill? Yeah, this is all y'all craft? Shit, come over here and do this for some of our other artists. We got $100K with your name on it. Then the album comes out and they're not even properly listed, right? So then that tears down their value in the industry, because what could have been the Newark group as the new production guys, they could have been goddamn the new Soulquarians or the Roots, right? They were diminished as just, hey, they just play what I tell them. Settling songwriter disputes can be a daunting prospect, says Liz Biter, chairman and CEO of Warner Chappell, a giant in the music publishing business. When 2, 3 or more people collaborate, the writers must perform the unwieldy task of calculating their percentage of contribution, and millions of dollars can be at stake if the song becomes a hit, which there were multiple hits on the album. You get lots of 5% and 10%, and when you get 6 or 7 writers on a song and it sounds crazy, but you have to figure out the most meaningful contributions. The more people there are, the more confusing it is. So in simplest terms, this is not anything new. This has been happening since the dawn of music publishing in the goddamn 30s, right? People get in the room, they come up with ideas, they put thoughts down, they play, you know what I'm saying, the music comes out some kind of way. Hey, I've been erased from the history. I've been erased from the credits. I should have got at least 5, 10, 20%. What happened to that? And the lawyers are just going to come in and say, hey, you didn't get it in writing? Tough titty. But just think about this, right? All of this lawsuit and all of this stuff was happening while the album was still freshly out. It was only out for 2 months before this became an issue. So then she comes out and says, 20 some odd years later, nobody ever came to me to make another album. Maybe it's because they knew you couldn't make one. Maybe it's that. Now, we did see her play the guitar on Unplugged, right? Years later, which was quite a few years later. So she had time to learn how to play the acoustic guitar. This is the person that we're watching on stage. This is the person that's been showing up late to your shows. If you paid to see Lauryn Hill in concert at any point in the last 8 to 10 years, name me a show where she came on time. There's been literal shows where she came out late and only performed for 25, 30 minutes when she was supposed to be up there for an hour and a half. Make this shit make sense. And then she taunts y'all in y'all face and says, y'all lucky I even showed up. No. You're lucky we bought these motherfucking tickets. You're lucky we keeping your motherfucking ass in business all this time. You're lucky we got you out of them tax issues, right? Because Jay-Z came and bailed your ass out the prison system and shit. You're lucky he came. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be honest about these things. Nobody's taking anything away from her as a talent, as a motherfucking vocalist, as a legend. She is that and so much more. And being that she knows she's that and so much more, she leverages that as a way to disrespect the loyalty of her fans. And this is why I have a problem. This is why I'm speaking with so much angst in my voice. It's not because I dislike her or that I don't appreciate her. It's the fact that I don't appreciate how you use and abuse your base. There's so many people out here that would kill to have a loyal fan base that'll come out and watch you in the rain. Yet you have that and you abuse it. We tried to watch you on Essence Fest, I think it was last year, watching the Essence Fest on Hulu, and wouldn't you know, Lauryn Hill was late. Like an hour late. To a live broadcast, not only in person at the Essence Fest, but also to viewers at home that had access to it. They're trying to put together anything and everything they can, do intermissions, get people joking on stage, get people, hey, how you doing? What's your wardrobe? Putting up elevator music signs and shit, waiting on this woman to come out. I'm sorry, I just can't agree with it, man. And for you to come out and say y'all are lucky, motherfuckers ain't lucky for nothing. I don't care what it took, you know what I'm saying? If it's too much of a toil for you to come out on stage and perform, don't accept the bookings. Don't accept the money. Don't accept the front end money because you got to come and actually collect the back end to show up and do your job. If you don't want to do your job, retire. This is a creative outlet. This is a creative business. If you don't want to be in it, it is up to you. Nobody's forcing you to be here. Nobody's forcing you to come out. Nobody's forcing you to sing. You went plenty of time without doing it, as a matter of fact, so you know you don't have to do this. But hey, if you're in the crowd, if you're going to the shows and you're satisfied with that and you want to continue to follow her, more power to you. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates. I'll catch y'all on the next one, all right? Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.